Good morning. Thank you for coming today. Purpose in getting together today was to share with our community a new asset that we have here in Lauderdale County. Many people have already asked me about, or I've seen on social media, what is that Army tank riding around town that's all black? And a lot of people made guesses and they were wrong. A lot of people said it's the federal government that showed up, somebody doing some type of operation. And that is not what has happened. We have recently acquired through a federal program called the LISO program, Law Enforcement Support Office program. It is a federal program where federal assets, different pieces of equipment are made available to local cities and counties and states in our country can purchase this surplus equipment. You don't actually own it. It's more really like a lease. You pay a one-time fee, and then you get to use that piece of equipment. You have to maintain it, and then when you determine you no longer have a need for it, or you choose to not operate it anymore, you turn it back in. And it is a great way to take a piece of equipment that, quite honestly, would probably be scrapped, that in 2008, when our MRAP was actually made, cost us as taxpayers almost $500,000. And instead of it being scrapped and not being used, we're now able to use that in our local community. Several sheriff's departments and police departments in the state of Mississippi already have those, and in the past we've had to depend on our neighbors to come and help us at times by bringing these types of vehicles from their counties to Lauderdale County, and we are extremely grateful for their help. But we felt that it was time for us to work toward making sure we had that availability closer to us so that we could get it more expediently. And we've actually for years now been attempting to get an MRAP. And so fortunately about 6 weeks ago, well actually a little more than that, about 2 months ago, we were notified that we were in the running with two other agencies. I like to say it because it sounds good, New York Police Department and Chicago Police Department, for one that was coming available. And they have a formula for how long you wait and the distance and all of this, and we won out on that. And so we went down to Pasco County, Florida, and picked up this MRAP from them, where they've been using it since 2013. It's in excellent shape. We trucked it back up here, and we've gotten our decals put on it, and we still have a few things that we need to do to the inside to set it up for the best use for us. But this is going to give us an armored vehicle that we didn't have previously. And people might ask, well, why do you need that? Well, we need that because there are times we've already, in the last year, twice called for surrounding counties to come and aid with their vehicle in situations where we felt like it would be an asset to have that available. You can either bring people into a situation or get people out with that. It's just a tool, and we won't get used every day, and probably won't get used every week, maybe not even every month. I've equated it to a fire extinguisher. You don't want to have to use one, but if you need one, you want it handy and you want it to work when you need it. And so we are looking forward to having this tool available for us to use to better serve our community. So, any questions?
Can you talk about maybe how much it costs the department, or
Yeah, great question. The fee for that is $10,000, and we use seized drug funds not only to pay the $10,000 fee, but also to pay to have it trucked here for us, as well as the decals that we put on it and various other things that we've had to do for it. We've used seized drug funds to do that. So actually we haven't had to use any taxpayer dollars to get this vehicle up and running.
So it hasn't cost the taxpayers a dime?
Well, it did originally.
I mean, kind of.
Other than that, but yes, here locally for what we're doing for it, we're using we've used our seized drug funds for that. We have already utilized it in training, and we actually were going to run a warrant a couple days ago, but it didn't work out. And but we've got it ready to go when the next time comes that we believe it would be of benefit to use it.
What about the name, Hercules 2? Where does that come from?
Well, there's a little story with that. We used to have a bread truck. Some people in our community may remember. Very gracious. The local baker here had a truck they had surplused and couldn't no longer use, and we took that and using seized drug funds. We spent a good bit of money outfitting it, putting bench seats in it and getting the motor running and those kind of things. And we were out on an operation in that vehicle one day, and we were having some trouble getting it to go. And one of our members of our SWAT team, who I won't mention, Investigator Chris McFarland's name, started with a line that's in the movie, Hercules, Hercules, you know, and so that kind of just stuck. And we called it Hercules, and so several people said, we ought to call this Hercules too. So when we went to go pick it up, I didn't know they were doing that till we went and picked it up, and it's like, guys, really? So yeah, that's where its name came from. It's Hercules too. And of course, I also had one of our guys say, you know, it kind of looks like our bread truck has been eating, clean, and going to the gym.
Can you go into detail some of the features that will enhance safety for your officers out in the field?
The most obvious is the bullet resistance. You know, we pull up to go serve a warrant, for example, and the cars that we drive in are, you know, obviously not bullet resistant, bulletproof, as some people would call. Sheriff Pennington next door in Newton County, it's been a number of years, 3 or so years ago, the first time they used their MRAP as they approached this house, individual came out and shot it multiple times. You know, he said it paid for itself the very first time they took it out, because he believes this individual would have come out and done the same thing to a patrol car. So it provides a level of protection for those men and women who are going to serve these high-risk warrants. Not only will we use it for that, but we have high water. It's a high water, you know, type vehicle you can get in. It will do a lot of things. A lot of things it will do. Some things that we'll probably, you know, obviously we'll never use. Hopefully we're never in a biological or radiation situation, but these things are actually built for that kind of thing. But it's going to give us that capability to go into places and make sure that we can get our people in, or we also can use it as a shield if we have to get somebody out. If you have a barricaded suspect or a person inside of a home or a building and there's someone wounded, that thing you can put in between them so you can get to somebody and get them out. So it's going to afford us some options that we haven't previously had.
With the new administration coming into the city, we all extend this to help with the city of Meridian. I know in the past they had apparently wanted to use Lauderdale County Jail. They hadn't wanted to use your resources, it seems. We all extend this to the city if they need help? Absolutely, and they've already talked with, you know, surrounding sheriffs, and, you know, we work with each other, and anybody that needs our help, we're going to go help. That's the way we work.
About how much does it weigh?
It weighs empty a little over 40,000 pounds. So loaded up with some folks in it, you're probably talking 42. It's heavy, which causes us to have to plan a little bit about what routes we take. It's also 11 feet 3 inches in height. So you have to think about that as well in terms of power lines and that, you know, bridges. And
what's the height of the tunnel over here?
11.3. We don't go through the tunnel. We go over the railroad track. Good questions. Yes, ma'am.
Can you go a little bit into the training process, timelines, stuff like that? Because, you know,
yeah. Well, fortunately, we have a couple people that are ex-military, so they have a little bit of training in this. We also, this vehicle, have to have a commercial license to drive it. I mean, it's a heavy vehicle. You got to know how to utilize and have the skills to drive a vehicle like that. And we actually have a gentleman who's helping us who is a driving instructor, and he's very knowledgeable, and so that's going to help us. And the military members we have, one of them actually used to drive vehicles like this. So we're doing training, and those are all part of what we're doing, and training about getting in and out of that thing, and what that looks like, and how to do that. So we've already we've begun that process. We're not quite there, but we're getting there.
Are there any features that it doesn't have, or any equipment that you want to add to it later that you're looking at?
Would love to have a 50 caliber machine gun on top, but they won't let us have those. I'm just kidding. We obviously don't need that. No, not really. I mean, there's some things internally that we're going to do to make it a little more user friendly for us. Obviously, that setup is for a military setup, which we are not. And so we have a few things that we're going to do. There are things that we'll do as we go along, and the guys will kind of do, you know, as we figure out, hey, we need to change this so it'll work better to put this particular tool there or whatever, those kind of things.
When did you guys first start looking into like getting something?
We've been talking about this for, probably 4 years.
You said 40?
Been about 4 or 5 years, yeah, back, talked about it when Sheriff Solid was here. We just, it's a competitive kind of process to do it, you gotta wait, and we've been turned down a couple, they called and said, hey, you're in the top 3 for this, and we wouldn't get it. So you kind of get frustrated about it, because you're like, how much longer is it gonna take? But we've got it now, we're thankful for it, and it is going to be another tool that we can use to better serve this community, and that is what we are trying to do down here.
And you may have mentioned this earlier, but about how many of these are across the state?
I want to say when I looked on the last list, it was somewhere 8 to 10 that are around the state. You can buy a civilian version for law enforcement that does the type of things really better than an MRAP does, because it's designed for that. And those new today cost about $350,000. Matter of fact, the county, Pasco County, we got it from, they had already purchased one, they had in service, they had 2 more coming in weeks after we picked this up. So they have a total of 3. That sounds great. We have 0. We're excited to have what we have here. Any other questions? Well, thank you. Now, if you want to ride, come on. We got a lot of folks who want rides. So we're going to get started. It won't be long rides, but we'll get you a ride.